something has happened to the deer. If we look at the page of 499 Nights, we'll actually see that the next update is way different than usual. There's no event, there's no new classes or something, but it just says the deer is hurt. If we look closely, you can see his ankles seem to be broken. He's laying on his back, maybe trying to get up, but because his eyes are closed, maybe he landed that way, and his fur on the right side of his body is just torn up. So in this video, I'm gonna try to figure out what could have happened to the deer, and I'm gonna be doing it while surviving 99 nights. So far, all we have is the fact that the deer is hurt. We don't really have much else, except we do have a description for the update which says this: will you help the deer? It's unclear who did this to the deer, but whatever it was is extremely dangerous. Now, speaking of extremely dangerous, I don't think it was Deer Buddy. So this is interesting because one, it seems like we're gonna have the choice to help the deer or not, and two, whatever hurt the deer must be insanely powerful, just by the way that the wording is phrased and the fact that it overpowered the deer. I mean, the deer kills you super easily. I mean, he swipes at us a few times, but if he really wanted to, he could easily kill us just by picking us up and twisting us like a chicken drumstick or something. Just peel the meat right off the bone. I mean, we're insanely weak compared to the deer, but if there's something that makes the deer insanely weak in comparison to it, then yeah, we have something to worry about. So there are a few theories I've thought of so far that could have been what happened to the deer. And in order to go over my first one, we do have to go over the ending for 99 Nights in the Forest, or at least what we have so far. In the ending, when you manage to survive 99 nights, the deer will actually look at your base. He'll reach out his hand slowly, almost as if he just failed to do what he was trying to do. Like he's giving up on some kind of objective that he had to do something with us, of course. And then he turns around, crawls away extremely slowly, and goes into a cave. Now, what's in this cave, we have not really any idea. All we see are some bars that the deer pries open. He takes a look back, and then nothing else. We just get a message saying that there's gonna be more for the ending soon, but we haven't gotten anything else, and it's been months. So, this update where the deer got hurt might actually be a continuation of the ending that we've had unfinished for so long. For example, you might have assumed that the deer was trying to go through these bars, but what if instead there was something behind those bars and he was trying to free it? So just like we have a new owl entity and we have a new ram entity, what if there is an even more powerful, like seriously overpowered entity that the deer released to try and get us, but managed to get hurt himself in the process? I have no idea what this entity could be. If it's bigger than the deer, maybe it's the same size but just stronger. Honestly, I have no idea. Any kind of thing I would be able to say would just be a blind guess in the dark at this point. But the fact that it could have been something new isn't too much of a guess in the dark, considering something did hurt the deer, and the way that the description is worded, it does seem like it's gonna be some kind of new entity. So one possibility is that the deer freed something to maybe try to attack us, to get the kids, we don't know. But another possibility, which is really interesting, and if I can find footage for it, I will try. Maybe I'll even try to find a building in this game so I can be able to explain it. But there is a building where the cultists have their own little hideout, but it doesn't seem to be just a hideout. It seems to be something a little bit more suspicious, because when you manage to go to the back, on the second story, there's a weird room with two beds that have handcuffs on them, but it's way, and I mean way too big for a human or a Roblox character. No one's gonna fit on there except maybe the deer. And if you look above these beds, there's also a light, or maybe it's two lights, or at least what seem to be lights, that they might be using while operating on whatever it is that they have strapped down. Now, this thing is way bigger to fit a human, so the only really other thing it could be would be a really large animal, or the deer, or even the owl and the ram. For example, if they only created the deer, let's say the cultists only created the deer, or only at least experiment on the deer, why would they need two beds? The deer isn't gonna duplicate itself, so it would make sense that they also created the owl and the ram, especially since in some of the winter buildings, we see whiteboards that say stuff about the owl. That's how we pretty much got the hint that the owl was coming into 99 Nights in the Forest before he actually did. So, now that I've made this connection, what if the cultists actually were the ones who hurt the deer? For example, if they need to restrain him down to operate on him, which, you don't need to really for someone who's consenting, then it might be possible that the deer wanted to rebel against the cultists. He tried his best, maybe by trying to escape through the grate that we saw at the ending, and the cultists either punished him or tried to restrain him to the point where they hurt him pretty bad. But the one thing that makes me not think that this one is likely is because of the way that the new update is going to be worded, or actually is worded right now, where it says whatever did this to the deer must have been insanely powerful. That's really a paraphrase, and it makes it sound like it's going to be a singular thing that attacked the deer, not really a group of cultists, because it uses the word it. Now there's also the possibility, actually hold on, speaking of the deer, here he is, he's not hurt yet. He is, I don't know what he's doing. He is having a fun time down there sticking his head through some wood. But there's also the possibility that it wasn't a new entity, but actually an old entity, or maybe even both of them. Maybe it was the ram and the owl who attacked the deer, and this would actually make sense. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I might be able to. For the winter update, or at least the one where we got the owl, where it says the owl has awoken and all that, the deer was actually afraid of the owl, almost as if the owl was a far more powerful being, and it could very badly hurt the deer if it wanted to. And so, it could have been that the owl eventually got to the deer, and now we have this new update where the deer is hurt, and we have the opportunity to help him. Now, I'm not necessarily sure about the ram, if the ram is more powerful than the deer, but it is possible, we just don't really know. I mean, you can kind of theorize on it, but not perfectly. Alright, just got the first kid. I forgot kind of to get the multipliers. I've been focusing on the lore. I got a lot of days to reach. Now, I don't necessarily have a reason in mind for why the owl or the ram would have attacked the deer, but because the deer was afraid of the owl, it kind of implies that the owl has attacked him in the past. For example, if you're some giant mutant animal like the deer is, and you see another giant mutant animal like the owl is, you're not gonna instantaneously know that this owl could just kill you, or at least the deer wouldn't. Same way as if I see another person who's my height, I'm just gonna assume that's a regular guy. I'm not gonna assume he's some pro MMA boxer who could kill me in 3 seconds. I'm just gonna assume he's a normal guy. And so if the deer is terrified, petrified by the fact that the owl was around him, it may imply, or at least seems to imply, that the owl has attacked him in the past. And so maybe this was another time where the owl attacked the deer, or the ram attacks the deer for the first time, or maybe also not the first time, and now he's hurt, and we have the opportunity to help him. Now, about the whole thing of helping him, I have no idea what in the world that means, because if we're actually going to help him and get the deer on our side, doesn't that kind of like defeat the whole purpose of the whole game? I mean, I go out at night right now and I'm looting stuff, but I kind of have to worry about the deer, which makes it scary and hard. Now, there's also wolves and bears, but they're not really as scary as the deer. The deer you actually have to really watch out for, because he can be faster than you at times. So if there was no deer, I mean, there'd be no point in the game. Look, there he is. I'm kind of nonchalant about him because I played this game so much, but without the deer, this game would just not really be 99 Nights in the Forest anymore. Plus, the cultists would lose almost all their meaning. I mean, they're literally deer worshippers. So if the deer was on our side now, and maybe even left the forest or just stopped trying to kill things, I mean, what's gonna happen to the cultists? They kind of have their whole thing around the deer. That's almost their identity. Probably is their identity. So no cultists, no deer. I mean, it would still be 99 Nights in the Forest, but it would be a very boring forest. So as for how we're gonna help him, I honestly have no idea. Like, genuinely, if we're actually gonna be at terms with the deer, that might mean that the game is going to shift its direction and do something totally different. They might actually change the main antagonist, being the deer, to be another entity more powerful than the deer, to, I guess, freshen things up, make things feel new, which could work. It could always work. You know, new is always cool, but it could absolutely backfire and make the game terrible. So I'm honestly interested to see how we're gonna help the deer. He's hurt, so we might need to actually get like 3 bandages or a med kit and bring it to him, and then he'll be fine. But you know, why would we help him if he's just gonna kill us? So there's gonna be a lot more to it, and if I go further than this, I am straight up speaking out of thin air. So I'm gonna leave it at that. It's gonna be very interesting for how we're gonna help him. But to reiterate what I was saying from earlier, I do think the most likely option as to who hurt the deer will be a new entity, because although technically the deer is afraid of the owl, and so maybe they have fought in the past, the way that the update is worded, and it says, you know, whatever attacked the deer was extremely dangerous, it hints towards the fact that it's gonna be something new. For example, if it was the owl, that'd be kind of boring for an update. It wouldn't be as cool as if it was a brand new entity. And so, simply for the sake of reasons in real life, you know, having the update be a lot better, and by the way that the update is worded, it does seem like it's going to be some kind of new entity that did this to the deer. Now, we have no idea how or where it happened. I mean, it just kind of looks like a random photo out on some grass. He could be out in the middle of a forest, but probably... Actually, wait, hold up. Maybe we can pinpoint this. For example, this grass is a lot darker than what we saw in the update photo, and I believe here it is. Here's the grass for the very outer layer. This is even darker. So if we come towards the base, maybe this actually does say, hold up, maybe I'm using detective skills right here, noticing the shades of the grass. Maybe it was out here in this layer of grass that the deer was hurt. Or actually, no, it was this layer. This layer matches perfectly. So it seems like the deer somehow... Oh, dude, I have got the theory of a lifetime just off the top of the dome. Think about it. Where was the deer in the ending of the game? He was by our base. He looks at our base and he reaches out towards us. Now, if the deer is hurt on this layer of grass, this layer of grass is not that big. I only have to walk for maybe 10 seconds-ish, and I will eventually find the next shade. I see right there it is. This little darker shade right here, which is not what the deer is hurt on. So if the deer got hurt near where he was at the ending of the game, it's possible that there actually was something behind that grate that came out and hurt him, and he barely managed to crawl outside of that cave alive, which would actually explain quite a lot. And maybe there's even a more powerful deer. For example, in the ending, we see these giant pairs of antlers. Where did these come from? I have no idea. But maybe that's where other deers of his kind would be. Now, we don't know that for sure. I am reaching a little bit, but that could be a possible scenario considering just how little we know. What's also interesting, though, is that if we look closely at the deer, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, he's only hurt on one side, which means whatever attacked him might have only wanted to disable him or get him out of their way or something like that quickly, rather than an utter, like, I'm trying to murder you level of attack. And so I'm honestly thinking whatever it was is most likely going to be a new entity in a future update, because if something hurt the deer, then it's capable of hurting us, that's for sure. And so this whole update is going to be about the brand new Sigma Wolf. We have alpha wolves and we have regular wolves, but the new Sigma wolf was so strong it beat the deer. But for real though, I have no idea what could this entity be. Here we go. Here's the building I was talking about earlier. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna just explore this real quick and I'll have footage for earlier. Oh, also pay attention to this symbol right here. It's oh, hello wolf. It's in the area here and in the snow biome, which is where we see the owl entity written on a whiteboard. Oh, nice, strong axe. Now, what's also interesting about this room is it seems to be some kind of laboratory, but not just any laboratory. Like, it's a genuine workplace I mean, we have straight up lockers here, not for the deer, of course. I don't think it's for the deer, but for the workers. I mean, and yeah, these are lights right here, 2 different beds. And so it seems like there are, what, 7 lockers there? Why would you need 7 lockers in just some random operating room? Well, you wouldn't unless it was something crazy like for the deer. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. What does this look like? Tell me what this looks like to you. It is the most obvious, if I've ever seen it in my entire life, observation room, almost like it's a padded room to contain something. We got this giant steel door. Well, we have that throughout the base. And then what seems to be, and it doesn't actually show, but what seems to be a one-way mirror to observe whatever's in here, further connecting the cultists and the deer. But then again, because the way the update is worded, it makes me think it wasn't the cultists who attacked the deer, but it could have very well been the cultists who made the deer, or at least experimented on him. Which makes me think, if something attacked the deer and it's stronger than the deer, could it also be a creation that the cultists made? We don't really have evidence of that so far, but we do get evidence of it in updates. For example, we saw the ram, I think on a box or something in the volcano about a week before the ram actually came by, or might have been exactly a week. And for the owl, as you saw earlier on the whiteboard, we got hints of the owl before the owl actually came, with the owl maybe even being made by the cultists. Alright, and here is the building I was talking about earlier with the owl. We have another kind of researchy laboratory place. We have a piece of paper right here saying the entity, ice temple, all of that. And as we've seen, this ended up being the owl. And here's that logo from earlier as well, from the other cultist base. So you can see that there's a big connection here. And I'm honestly really hoping, because they haven't done anything with the story for a while it seems, I'm genuinely hoping they start adding a lot more to the story, because that'll make the game a lot more deep and honestly feel a lot more real. Alright, just about to finally hit day 99. And what in the what am I? Yo, I'm going into free camp for this. Yo, the cutscene is bugged. My carnival maze was... Hey, here's the antler thing though that I was talking about. Hold on, I can actually see it. Huh, interesting. Yeah, so the deer, he goes into that cave thing, and then we can see finally he goes into this hole, and it looks like he's about to go through, and maybe he is, but because he got attacked and because he was laying on the floor or on the grass somewhere near here due to the color of the grass, it's possible something came out or he released something on purpose to attack him. But with that, what do you guys think actually happened to the deer, and what do you think we'll actually end up doing to help him? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.